Why should you join the Livingston County Republican Party?
Why, you ask?
Yeah, why?
Why join?
The Republican Party is the party of common sense.
Common sense.
Republicans support the Constitution.
Republicans protect your rights.
We fight to keep your children safe.
We fight to keep boys and men out of girls' and women's sports.
We fight to keep boys out of girls' restrooms.
We fight for you.
What does the Republican Party do?
We help Republican candidates get elected.
Why is it important to elect Republicans?
Why is that important?
Why?
Tell me, why is that important?
Livingston County is one of the safest counties in Michigan.
Livingston County has one of the lowest crime rates in the state of Michigan.
Livingston County has the lowest tax millage rate of all 83 counties.
Republicans work to balance the budget.
Republican legislators vote against raising your taxes.
Republican elected officials believe in transparency.
Republican clerks run elections with integrity.
Republican trustees protect your rights.
Republicans support our veterans.
Who can join?
If you are conservative, we want you in our party.
All conservatives are welcome at our table. Join our activities.
Join the fun.
Become a member.
Join us now.
Hi, I'm Deb Drick, Chair of the Livingston County Republican Party. Our conservative message has been very well received in Livingston County, and I'm so happy to share with you that people are stepping up right and left to help. The only thing's missing is you. Come join our mission. Come join our fun. Go to livingstonrepublicans.com and click join. You'll be glad you did.
The Exalted Christ Ministry offers resources to help you understand historic Christianity. Visit theexaltedchrist.com for articles, podcasts, and a video series exploring Scripture and key historical topics. Get free resources today at www.theexaltedchrist.com.
Good evening, and welcome to the Right Side Podcast. This is September 23rd. This would be my oldest grandson, Jacob's 23rd birthday, the 23rd on the 23rd. So happy birthday, Jacob. Yay. So I cannot believe I've been a grandmother for 23 years. But then again, I adopted my daughter when I was 12 and she was 4. So, okay. Anyway, so tonight I have a special guest. This is Steven Bearden. I'd like to introduce him. Welcome, Steven, and glad you could make it with us tonight.
Good evening. Glad to be here with you.
Yeah. We're going to kind of recap a little bit. If you missed our vigil on Thursday, you missed an event that is still got chills in my it's giving me chills. Mm-hmm. It was for Charlie Kirk, and I was hoping, I know Mary Helfman from A1 Rentals, thank God bless Mary and Gary, who are so dedicated to our party. She called me and offered to donate 200 chairs, and I remember thinking, hey, I sure hope I have 200 people there. And I had the chairs on the amphitheater. They were filled instantly, and everywhere the eye could see on the courthouse property, there were people. I conservatively say at least 1,000, but there might have been as many as 1,500. There were a lot. But it was peaceful. We sang together. We prayed together. We hugged. We did all kinds of stuff. But we started off with Pastor Tate from Agape City Church did a beautiful prayer.
He sure did.
Oh, it was wonderful. Jay Drick, my husband, the commission chair, stood up and talked about historical tragedies and how we didn't understand why they happened, but that he talked about some of the results, the positive results that happened, God's plan. Anne Marie Yarber from Heartland at Turning Point. If you haven't heard Anne Marie speak, you've missed out. She gives me such hope for our future.
Amazing.
For that, isn't she amazing?
Young woman.
Very, very inspiring. Okay, I gotta. Joni, I see you. For once, I see you. She comes on and then types, and I never see her. Today, I see you. Good news. All right. So we also had Representative Jason Wolford does, and I specifically asked him, I've heard him say this before, he does this wonderful discussion about being a peacemaker versus a peacekeeper. And it was so appropriate. It just was appropriate. A peacekeeper is someone that just keeps the peace, goes along to get along. A peacemaker takes forward action to make peace. And that, in his words were, Christ wants us to be peacemakers, not peacekeepers. So that was wonderful. But at the end, we also had David Tharp from Marion Township, that he does beautiful prayers, and he did a beautiful closing prayer for us. But we had, at the end, I sort of challenged anybody, all the people there, that we were now living in a time where groups, be it religious, be it social, be it political, be it community, they're espousing hatred and violence. And at one point I asked, anybody ready to stand up and say, I'm walking away, come up and give me the first hug of freedom that they've had. And they've had people, we had people come up, and we had Democrats coming up saying, I'm done. We had other people walking away from different other groups, whether it was Facebook groups or whatnot, that were also espousing the hate. And when I asked that, this Steven, who I've known for quite a while, several years, Steven walked up to me and gave me a hug and said, I'm there. And I was very happy to see that. And I didn't know what he meant, but okay, I'll take it. I knew I would have a chance to ask him. So here is where I'm going to ask Steven. You came up, you hugged me when I'm asking who's ready to walk away. You came up and hugged me and said, I'm there. Share with me, share with everybody watching. What did you mean by I'm there?
Well, at the moment, to be perfectly candid, I was caught up in so much positive emotion from the night. It was such a tragedy that happened to not only to an individual and his family, but I believe to our country. And it was something that was emotional. It was something that hearing everyone talk, but really for me, seeing, I concur, over 1,000 people of all sorts of different backgrounds, different ages, many with different thoughts, could come together and care, and to care about this individual, but care about our country and each other. That I felt that we all should have stood up. We all should have been hugging you, but I understand that's a hard walk.
It is.
And I think I'm just fed up with being silent. And I thought that if we don't do something that's just as bad as probably just about anything. So I'm prepared to put myself out there and to talk to others about what I feel are the core values that were shared that night.
Okay, so let me ask you this then. You've come to realization, you've changed your way of thinking, you're not going to be silent. What outcomes, what forward actions will you use now to kind of demonstrate or to put that realization or those new thoughts into action? How do you think that'll look? What will that look like?
Well, I think that my wife will be happy to hear me say that I've made a decision, I think, as I've been referred to as a keyboard warrior in the past. When I would see something that would upset me, I would put those things in writing, and I would post those things. And the reality is, even though I'm not ashamed of anything that I said or my position, I think the approach on how I was doing it wasn't effective.
Okay.
It became clear to me that so many people are not willing to even take a moment to think. But if your words are not exactly in line with their thinking. And so I guess the way that I am trying to approach this now is, if I hate to put myself even in the same sentence as these two individuals because I'm not worthy, but if we can be more Christ-like and try to live how Jesus lived, there is absolutely nothing that is not positive about that. And I've got a long way to go. But Charlie Kirk, I think, was another individual, I think, that embodied many of those qualities. He is someone that did have grace. He is someone that also balanced the grace with truth. But I think he did it in a way of showing respect and would listen to those that came up with different viewpoints and would talk about their opposing viewpoints. And he showed them the respect that they deserved. And I think that how I would do this going forward is simply taking an approach that them is not the enemy. We are United States citizens, and we need to protect this country that we've built. And if it takes a different mindset to get my message across, I'm certainly more than willing to do that. And I hope that even starting today with some messages that I sent out to some friends, I'm trying to show that mindset of listening, of caring, being respectful, but not showing violence, not showing hatred,
Okay.
and showing grace.
Okay. So let me ask you this. What happens? So there are, as I spoke that night, there are two sides to that opposing area. And I'm going to, because this is no longer the courthouse lawn and we are right here in my studio, I can say that there are two sections of the Democrat Party. One of them is the, as I call them, everyday mainstream Democrat that believe government should help people, that borders should be open. We should welcome everybody with open arms. I get that. I don't feel I feel like it's a bad idea, but I don't think they're bad people for thinking that.
No, they're
so
not.
Let's just say that. So when I say that, but there's also a sect of people that are woke, and they are extreme woke, and those are the people that scream and use violence and use intimidation and use insult, and it's if you look at it, it's now dominating. The leaders of that party are the woke. Senator Kennedy out of Louisiana says it best. You got the mainstream Democrats, and then you got the loon party, and that's what they are. They're loons, and they're extreme, and they're terrible. So as you talk about respect and talk about listening and showing respect, for me, I do that too. I have Democrat friends that I've talked to. I had a long discussion with one today, and I respect her, and she's doesn't like some of the things she sees, and I said I'll sit down and talk to her about them, and we'll try to get to the bottom of some of it. So that is what I feel. That's a mainstream Republican. But when I come across a loon, no, they're gone. I click. I'm out. I'm not having anything to do with you. There is no respect. There's no. As soon as they start insulting me or attacking me, click. Off they go. Where do you stand? That's a long explanation. Where do you stand when it comes to the woke?
I specific to the woke movement, for me, I think it really comes down to, I'm going to use the word many times. It's a new word to me, but it's a word that I love to think about. I try to make it part of every moment, and I got a ways to go. Okay. But it's grace.
Grace. Mm-hmm.
And how I would define that, and this is not a biblical scholarly definition, because it is maybe I would like to touch on religion in just a moment.
Sure.
But to me, what grace is I guess simply put, treating people the way that you would want to be treated yourself, regardless of if you feel they deserve it. And it's a simplistic statement.
I get that.
And maybe another word is respect. But I guess at the same time, there are people that you just simply cannot reach.
Yep.
And that has been a frustrating thing for me in the past, because it's when I would make a point, how can you not understand this? And if you are a fringe on either side, I don't know that you're really open to listening. And if you are not willing to listen, if you're not willing to have an open dialogue, discourse, conversation without threats of violence and wanting to, I have no further words on that, that maybe then there is the time to walk away from that, because we only have so much time and so much energy in our busy world. I would rather speak to those that maybe are open to a conversation versus wasting my time with those
who just want to fight. And those are the people I'm talking about. You know, somebody told me one time, I worked for a minister years ago, and he told me, I said something about how do you rationalize this? And he said, if you read the Bible, Debbie, he said, even Jesus brushed the sand off his hands at some point and walked away.
Sure.
I said, when he realized there was just no moving them. And there is that sect that they're not willing to listen. They're not willing to meet you halfway. You don't have to convert them. They just need to, if they just want to share ideas. Charlie shared ideas.
Yes.
And he challenged ideas.
Yes.
And more important, he never told anybody their ideas were wrong, where he corrected, as far as I could see, and I've watched 1,100 of his things, his clips, but I never saw him correct an idea. What I saw him correct were incorrect assumptions.
Yes.
He made assumptions. You are a racist. You are a homophobe. You are this. And he wasn't. And he would, or Trump is this, or this person is this. And he would use evidence to correct their incorrect assumptions.
Yes.
But he never ever said your ideas are bad. Your ideas may not work, he'd say, because this and this.
Yes.
So it is terrific. Let's get some of these things. Our Anthony Hudson, candidate for governor, says, how do you all? And he also advises you speak your truth without fear.
Well, thank you.
And he certainly does that. He's known for that. Hello, Michael. Everyone, good evening. Sarah, wise words. We win by restoring decency. When they slap, we turn the other cheek. No. I agree with you to the point that we don't slap back, but I walk away. I don't turn the cheek, which is turning the cheek is, in my mind, it's allowing it and saying, okay, I forgive you. I can forgive you, but I'm walking away. I'm not going to be slapped. I'm not. And I think that people like me, and I'll take the blame, people like me have contributed to the crazies. The loon, as the Louisiana senator says, because we don't speak, because we don't want to offend, because I've kept my Facebook page personal. I have, until today, I never even put a Right Side podcast flyer on my Facebook page because I didn't want to offend my Democrat friends. And I still don't want to offend them. But at the same time, if they're offended by who I am, well, then I don't know if the word friend applies. So I've stopped being silent. I've stopped not sharing my thoughts. I've stopped that. If you are upset with my thoughts, okay. I had you saw the Howell City candidate, Jeffrey Mayo. I saw on his Facebook page, and that viral post, that was me. I took a screenshot of that post where he said Charlie Kirk, it was karma that he died. And I posted it on my page and said, this, I use the word asshat, is running for council. You might want to remember that, Howell. And it went everywhere. He made Elon Musk's list of jackasses that are you don't want to get in places. But it went viral. It went national. So it is that's what I started doing. I started calling people out, but I had a long time Facebook friend. I've known this woman. She took my leadership Livingston class. I have known her for years, and I've always thought she was a nice person, a kind person, a considerate person. Obviously Democrat. Okay, I can deal with that. But she put on my page, "Are you calling him out for speaking the truth?" And I didn't see it. I just saw that there was a comment that had been deleted and somebody else had, given her FU. And I thought, whoa, what's going on here? So I asked her, what did you say? Well, I'm not going to say your and her words were, your followers are jumping all over me. And that she said that twice. Well, I'm not going to do that while your followers. I'll have lunch with you and explain. And I thought, what's going on? I didn't know. I learned on that moment that you could go on posts and go to the history and see what people deleted. I did not know you could do that.
I didn't know that either.
Look at that. So somebody brought it up, what she had said. And what she had said was, so you're calling him out for being correct or being right. I was absolutely mortified. And what I said was, I am so disappointed. Out of whatever 2,000 friends or 1,800 friends or whatever I have, 3,000 friends, I don't know what I have. But out of all those Facebook friends, if somebody would have given me 1,500 guesses, she would never have made the list of somebody that would say that. And I deleted her as a friend right then and there. And someone said, well, I'll join you with that lunch. You're going alone. I'm not going. I'm not having anything to do with anybody that could say that. So, but the killer was, she was yelling at me. My followers were abusing her.
Yeah.
After what she said, but that's the worst. That's what you're walking away with here. That's what you're getting out of this. Anyway, so that's what So when I say, Sean, turn the other cheek, I can't do it. I'm not going to wish harm on them. I wish that lady a happy, healthy, long life, but I will not. I will not cater to this anymore. I will not allow people in my life, or in the sake of peace, or in the sake of respect, or even the word grace, will I allow people to behave that way in my presence. I will walk away. If you don't stand for something, you stand for nothing. So anyway, that's my 2 cents.
I think it's important to talk about these things, especially now, because I concur with you. I mean, it wasn't really so much of an active thought in my mind, but I think certainly subconsciously, or as a second thought in the past, I would not say certain things, or go maybe not talk about my faith, or not talk about religion, or maybe I don't want to wear a certain color because of how that might be perceived. And while that certainly gives us an opportunity to maybe put confrontation at an arm's length, I think it's fostered this ability to be overrun by those on the fringe, because they don't have anyone really standing up for their own beliefs.
Amen. Oh my gosh, that was beautifully said. That's exactly right. And I will raise my hand. I was guilty. I was one of them that, again, kept it, okay. Well, I never hid being a Republican. That would be very hard for a chair of a party to do, but especially a very red county. But I've never, I've been involved with the party since right around 2005, I think I wandered in. But I was always, I always kept it separate, and it isn't separate anymore. And for those who are, I don't expect people to go out and start swinging, but at the same time, if you're downplaying your beliefs, or you're downplaying your faith because you don't want to upset your friends, I feel like you need to redefine what a friend is. So what's your kind of your background, Steve, as far as, have you been a Republican for 100 years, or what is your background?
Well, my background,
I don't think we've ever talked about it.
My background, I'm known for making very long conversational points, so I will try to.
We got time. That's
good.
What this is for,
Good.
Long conversational points.
So I grew up in a Democratic household. Mom was a school teacher, retired after, I think, nearly 50 years being a public school teacher. My dad had a different type of career. He was a professional thoroughbred racehorse trainer.
Wow.
Both of them were Democrats, And I think just by affiliation and being around them, I guess I'm a Democrat too.
Sure.
Because I heard them, they didn't talk politics a lot, but what they did talk about made sense to me as a young person. And so I guess you could say I was a Democrat. And as far as growing up in that household, that was a household that had faith was not part of our family.
Okay.
Never attended church once as a child, or once in my life, actually, even as an adult, until about 2 years ago.
Wow.
And I mean, I'd be happy to talk about that. So faith is something new to me. And over the past 2 years, even though I'm just still trying to get my arms and head around everything, the thing that I do know is what I feel inside. And that feeling is amazing. It's made me a better person, I'd like to think. And I just look forward to becoming a better person through this. I'm sorry, you can tell I care a lot.
That's all right. It's all right. We're all friends here.
So growing up in this household, I think that like a lot of young people, you go to college. I think the bleeding heart and artist and the childlike feelings that many of us carry from our youth. And I brought that to college, and I was a Democrat. But over time, I think you begin to experience life. You begin to understand how things work, how they could work, how they don't work. And I found myself becoming more conservative. And I don't think, really became too excited about elections really until Donald J. Trump ran for office. Actually, I take that back. I remember Ross Perot as a young person. Mm-hmm. I think what I remember about him is that even at that age, I started to realize there's a difference between a business person, or I should say a non-politician, right, and politicians. Right. And for me, that was something that stood out.
Sure.
And I think for me, that is what stood out about Trump. And it was not that I liked everything that he said or how he said it. As a matter of fact, I will be very candid. There were many times when I just said,
cringed.
Please shut up.
I know.
Stop talking.
I mean,
but
show me a Republican that hasn't thought that once. I'll wait.
But the reality is, and I also remember thinking, that's so not presidential.
Yep.
But what does that mean? Does that mean that you are educated and schooled in how to be a politician? Does that mean you know how to talk out of both sides of your mouth and that not mean what you say? Does that mean that I can't believe you? And certainly not a leader that I've seen in the past. And that was one thing I saw from Trump is I might not like what he says, but what he says is common sense. And what he says, it shows me that he's a leader. I don't have to like it. I don't have to agree with it. I will follow somebody who I think is a leader and is taking us on the right course, and I believe he has.
Mm-hmm. So, I still cringe when he talks sometimes, but
agreed.
His policies are just amazing, and they've made a big difference already.
Huge difference. We have never had this type of change for all Americans like we have since he came into office. And it hasn't been a smooth ride, but I think the ride is a beautiful one. And I look forward to seeing where this goes. And I hope it continues this common sense approach to how we run this country.
Do you think it's different now, the 24-25 Trump versus the 15-16 Trump or the 16?
I do. And I think that he was a bombastic guy, and he came in and he made big statements and he rattled a lot of cages. I think that as a business person who knows how to get things done, he approached running this country as a business, which I think that is the right approach. But I don't think that maybe he was able to utilize the swamp to his benefit like he could have. But I think that now that he has gotten experience of what the swamp is like, I think he is more effective at getting things done. And so I think this time he is doing it in a more mature manner, and I think more effective.
Agreed. And I don't, and I don't know that. I think he got rid of some of the swamp monsters have kind of been rendered ineffective as well. And he's got some new swamp creatures that aren't so swampy. So he's got new blood in there that are, they're working together more. And he's, he's being so candid with everything he's doing. And I agree. I still cringe sometimes. Thinking, oh my gosh, all right, we don't have to go there. But at the same time, and this is what people say, oh my God, I hate him. Oh my God, I hate him. Well, look at his policies. If those same policies were in place by Obama, you'd be worshiping him. Same policies. So just don't pay attention to him. Pay attention to what he's doing. Because I would rather have an effective president than a good talking, ineffective president.
Oh, hands down.
Causing problems. So anyway, so you had a long journey from Democrat to Republican and from no faith to faith.
Yes.
So how is that going to affect you moving forward, do you think? What are the changes in your life because of it, or what changes do you intend to make?
Well, I think first and foremost, I would have to say probably not hiding my thoughts and opinions just because I don't want potentially disruptive or violent pushback. I think with my own growth and maturity, I think that I am able to not get upset, maybe as I would as a younger person, because you disagree.
Sure.
But I think that also, as I said earlier on, I think one of the first things I said is and for my brothers in my men's Bible study group that are helping me along this journey, I hope you don't laugh, but I do know enough thus far that living one's life as Jesus is a model, I cannot think of anything better, and I'll never reach that, but I'm going to spend the rest of my life trying.
Oh, good. Then that's all I think that Jesus wanted, right?
I think today, I back to your point earlier, I think there are some people that on the fringe on both sides that are just not reachable. At least I don't know how, and I only have so much time and bandwidth, and if there's no chance in changing anyone's thinking, is my time better off removing myself from that situation and putting myself in a situation that maybe somebody might listen. So I forgot where I was going with that, but
I said, what are you going to do differently?
What am I going to do differently?
Yeah, what are you going to do? Well, let's talk. Let me take a couple of comments here.
Please.
First of all, Christy Cox says she's so proud of my friend Steven. God bless you.
Oh, hi, Christy.
Hi, Christy. Good to see you. Love her.
Thank you.
And then Michelle Blondeel, nobody would laugh at that. It's amazing. So I agree with you, Michelle. It is amazing, and it's wonderful to see. And I want to show, and here's my observation, and I've been an observer of this kind of stuff for a long time. And in my lifetime, and I've said this before, and I've asked other people who have been in the party and been active for as long or longer than me, have you ever seen the Democrat Party so broken up, so nuts, so over the top, so disorganized, without a good message, without anything? And I've yet to hear anyone say, oh yeah. No, they have not. And I've said, as far as I'm concerned, the longer they stay nutty, and the more every single time one of those crazies, those loons, or the woke crazies start intimidating or insulting, as soon as they do that, anybody sees that, any independent or swing suddenly gets thrown to the right. So I'm okay with that. Mm-hmm. But this is something I've seen right here. As a lifelong Democrat, I'm tired of watching my party become the Westboro Baptist Church. The Dem response to the assassination of Charlie Kirk is full of hate. We are a long way from the party JFK imagined. I have registered Republican as of today. I have had enough. Bravo to you. Bravo to you. And I'm not saying that just because now you're part of our party. Bravo for you. That's exactly what I was saying on Thursday when I said, who is ready to walk away from this? Because they are not the party and they used to be. And now there's so many of them. No longer, if you belong to that party, no longer do you get to say, well, that's them and not me.
Yeah.
You don't get to say that anymore. You are who you surrounded yourself with. So I challenged everybody, Operation Charlie, stand up, speak up, call them out. Do not stay silent anymore. We don't have to live our life fighting. But I saw Jessica Bearfield typed something along the lines of on one of her Facebook posts that the light is the greatest sterilizer, and that is absolutely correct. We need to shine the light on some of the hatred that's going around, and look what it's done. Look at the people who have been fired or removed, companies. Republicans don't burn and loot and do that sort of thing. We don't threaten. What we do is we vote with our dollars. We don't support the organizations that do stupid things or that espouse hate or support the woke nonsense. We stopped supporting Aunt Jemima. We stopped supporting Cracker Barrel. We stopped supporting Bud Light. And most of the time they put the brakes on and run away. And they go back. So Aunt Jemima's back and Cracker Barrel's back. And it for good reasons. And once that happens, I'm fine with supporting them again. That's how you make change. You make change by voting with your dollars.
Sure.
And the Democrat Party will change when people like this, when they leave the party and their numbers start to drop off, that's when we're going to get change, when they no longer have the votes to win anything. And they're going to have done that to themselves. And all of a sudden you'll see, and it's interesting because I have seen Judy Daubenmire, and for those of you who don't know who Judy Daubenmire, she's the chair of the Democrat Party. And, to be fair, I've never had an argument with her. I've never had a fight with her, even a disagreement. I mean, she does her things my way, and I she doesn't approach me and yell at me or anything else. She's, thus far been respectful, and so am I. So it is, we both believe differently, but I don't think she's an evil person. She has come out and said, the Democrats do not support SAGE. Ha! That is a first step, because that's what, and people are associating the two together because SAGE are comprised of Democrats. So when you say, I'm a Democrat, and they say they're Democrats, what are you, if you don't know better, what are you going to think? That all Democrats are like SAGE, right? And here's Judy trying to say, nope, they're not us. We're different. And so that's what's happening. And so this is where these people, tired of watching her party become the Westboro Baptist Church. Well, there you go. That's SAGE. That's where it's becoming. That's what happens. You've got those groups. And SAGE is only one. SAGE is actually everywhere. We just have our loonies in Livingston County. And I don't hesitate calling them loonies. They make absolutely crazy accusations, and they twist words, and they're vile. They're the ones that we had Pastor Bolin in here a few weeks ago, who, to remind you, the Heartland Cromaine Library board chair, who put forth a resolution and got it passed to put a label on books that contained sexually graphic material. A label. Didn't ban them, didn't remove them, didn't burn them, didn't stop anybody from reading them, but put a label there so parents could know what their kids were reading. Perfectly informative, perfectly great. And this is at the library, Heartland Cromaine Library. SAGE, in their wisdom, decided to protest, and in their protest, they included, somebody put a 4-foot inflatable penis on the church where all the kids. No. It's in the newspaper. It's all over the place. An inflatable penis. And this is SAGE. This is the entire Democrat SAGE group, plus whoever they could round up, to protest that Pastor Bolin is dangerous to children because he labeled the books, right? And it wasn't just homosexual books or this, it was all sexual content, straight, gay, whatever. They're all labeled equally. They didn't label in different colors. They all labeled. So this is what happened. Now, I had actually one of the SAGE members, Stephanie Booth, decide to go at me on Facebook one time and say, well, your words, you're lying again, which is the famous, they can't prove a point, so they say liar. That you're lying again. We've already declared that person with the penis wasn't part of our group. It's a free country and anybody can stop. And I was like, So you're telling me that while you were out there peacefully protesting with your hatred signs, somebody driving around that just happened to have a 4-foot inflatable penis in the car thought, hey, let's stop here. That's the place to be. I'll bet it'll go there. And you were so shocked that you just said, okay, well, we're not going to do anything about it. You know, pull the other one. It's got bells on. You know, let's see what Georgia has to say. It's very heartwarming to be gathered together with so many from our community room. Yes, wonderful and godly man. My daughter, myself, and Granberry went to this event. And we were so blessed to see such a wonderful turnout. We worshiped together, we prayed together, remembered together. Charlie impacted more than he possibly ever even thought all over the world. I want to thank you for doing this. You did a fabulous job, and we all appreciate that. Georgia Walters. Thank you, Georgia. That was very kind of you to say, and it was absolutely our pleasure.
So
and
true.
Everything you said was absolutely true. I tell people, it was the most connected I ever felt to people I had never laid eyes on and may never lay eyes on before. But something went through, and everybody's saying the same thing. There was a feeling of, and I don't know the right word, but connectedness is the only word that comes up. And it felt like we were all one. And it wasn't unity, and it wasn't unified. It was, we were all connected, and we were like, it was like this to everybody. And even if we weren't standing near anybody, wasn't that right?
I don't know if I told you this, but after it ended, a woman and her children, and she came up, it could have been, and hugged me. And I didn't have any conversation with this person directly, but I think it was the feeling that you're describing. Nobody was talking about revenge. Nobody was talking about violence. Actually, quite the opposite. It's like, we will not participate in this vile hatred and this violence. And I think that was just amazing. And I felt the same thing.
I never felt like that before, ever. And I spent the whole next day with this feeling, and I don't want to say it was warm fuzzies. It was something I've never felt. It was almost like, you know, you hear stories of what happens when you die and you become part of everybody.
Yes.
And it's like you become one soul again. That's what it felt like. I mean, on a mild level, but it was there. And I'm not the only one that said it. I have read statements from, like, Georgia, like this one, from a lot of people. My phone blew up. My messages have blown up from people, emails on neighborhood app, and those exact same things. And that's exactly how I felt, and you felt it too. We all felt this connectedness, and I would just give anything to feel that again. In that spirit, I have also included, we have a fundraiser for the LCRP. It is for the Livingston County Republican Party coming up October 15th. I want to make it very clear, this is how we fund all our election work next year. We help candidates with funds, we help candidates with mailings, we help candidates with signs, we help candidates with things. This is where we get our money. But we have this event coming in October, and I decided, because of that connectedness, I've decided to include a small part of the night as a service to, you know, Charlie. It's not good. It's just because for the only reason I'm doing that is because I want to create that feeling again, and I'm hoping we can do it there. It was wonderful. It was beautiful, and I just got confirmation that Anne Marie is coming, the young Turning Point girl. She just texted me a half an hour ago. She'll be there, and I'm going to invite her to speak. So I'm hoping she'll speak for us. I don't think she will object. So, I mean, anybody hasn't heard her speak, this is where you want to go. This is our October 15th. Blue jeans, cowboy boots if you want, or sneakers, I don't care, cowboy hats. We're going to be line dancing. We got beginning square dancing. It's just going to be a fun pig roast, casual, $100 ticket buys you food, entertainment, beer and wine, and soft drinks. Well, we got our favorite Wayne County Republican here. I tease him all the time that he's exactly 50% of the Wayne County Republican Party. So he comes in. We love him. We love when he comes by. We're talking about a vigil that you missed, Mister, that we did here last Thursday. That was absolutely mind blowing. It was so wonderful for Charlie. So I guess I'm really Georgia. Georgia? Can I ask you something that you're here? Georgia, were you a Republican before this? And are you a Republican now? Or if not, tell me what is different now. We're not going to stare at the screen and make you type fast. So just get to it when you get to it and we'll bring up. But and we'll continue to talk. But I'm looking for anybody that was there. What changed inside you afterwards? Whether you weren't a Republican, now you are. Whether you weren't a Republican, now you're an independent. Whether you were a Republican, but just feel differently. I mean, I was a Republican before. I feel differently. I have decided no more hiding. Not that I ever hid it. I just didn't. I just wasn't as open with it as I am now. And I'm not. That doesn't mean I jump down people's throat or walk up and say, "Are you a Democrat? You're terrible."
We had to hide it. I mean,
you don't want to be screamed at, yes, or
you don't want to be screamed at.
Right.
We've all experienced it. I was talking with a friend of mine. I had an opportunity to see our vice president recently come to Howell and give a very nice talk. And many of the others is there as well. But I was talking with a friend of mine that I brought, and we got into a story, and he was telling me that he said, I'm done hiding my Trump hat. I'm done hiding my views. He said, I can tell you, it's just crazy how I was at an event, and he was wearing a red Ducati motorcycle hat. Italian motorcycle. That's their color. It's their logo.
Sure.
Ducati. Very well known. He got just ripped apart from someone on the other side because of the hat that he wore. And he told me he didn't even realize what he was talking about at first because it was sort of an unhinged type of attack on him. And he took his hat off to see what he was talking about. And he said to the man, he said, "This is a Ducati motorcycle hat. I don't understand. What is your issue with motorcycles?" And he got very frustrated. Well, you know what that really means, though. You know what you are really meaning.
It means motorcycle.
How do you deal with that? I don't know.
Right. Well, let's see.
Maybe stop hiding it. That's the first step.
Madam Chair, do you guys in Livingston encourage individuals to run for local office, including but limited to city council and school board? I ask because I usually do in Wayne County, and I hope a lot of, Mark, silly you. You need to ask me that. We give, not only do we encourage, we identify, I put on classes, several classes a year, that how to campaign. And when I teach how to campaign, I've got like a 90% success rate. If you follow my plan, you're going to get elected, unless your odds were so bad to begin with, but even then you're going to run a better one. So we don't just encourage, we train them, we work with them, we support them. I'm raising money to be able to do mailings for them, to do door knockings for them, to buy them signs, whatever we need to do. So yes, we do. We if there's one thing, this party maybe needs to do this or this or this better, we need to learn, we need to grow, we need people that'll do this or this. But one thing we do well is we train our candidates. So yes, Mark, you are awesome, Madam Chair. That joke is about me being 50% is always funny to me. I know it is to me too, but I don't know. I'm not so sure I'm joking all the time when I say it. I haven't met your other half yet, so we'll have to see. I've said I've heard they're there, but I don't know. I haven't seen it. Anyway, so I'm hoping Georgia is over there typing away, and we're going to hear from her soon. But it's, I guess I'm looking for anybody that was at that. Please share what you saw, what you felt, what you heard, what you thought, and really, how are you different now? I'm, for anybody that knows me, I am a bugger when it comes to outcomes. As I plan things, as I talk to others about helping them plan things, I drive people crazy because I say, well, that's an output. You did an output, but there's not an outcome. An outcome is what changed because of the output. You did this, you had an event, okay? You gave them information, you gave them flyers. what's the outcome, who changed, and what happened because of what of what your outputs. So I'm looking for outcomes here, and Steven has shown us, that he's, I guess we're hearing more often from not just Steven about, talking more and not being afraid, not holding back, because like I said, that being quiet, I think it encouraged. It gave a what do I want to call it? An open stage to those who wanted to yell from the rooftops, and nobody spoke over them. So I don't necessarily need to fight them, but nor will I stand there and listen to them anymore. Not when I will not be in the vicinity where I hear them. Click.
Right.
That's it. Unfriend. I don't care who you are. If I hear that, and I have publicly stated, and I mean this, if you are celebrating Charlie Kirk's death, unfriend me now. You are part of the problem, and it saved me the trouble. I find all the people that think his death was deserved or great or ha or karma. I think you are vile, and I want nothing to do with you.
I wonder how much of people's opinion about, let's say, the right side, the red, the Republican, the Charlie Kirks, the Donald Trumps, how much of that hate is coming from purposefully constructed social media propaganda.
And
a lot.
Good observation,
well,
Stephen.
It's I will refer back to my men's Bible study group. We meet every other Wednesday. It's a private group of just guys getting together and digging into the Word and loving each other and being good men and supporting each other. And I'm so lucky to be invited to that. But one of the members in our group referenced something recently, and I certainly can't say it verbatim, but basically, in a nutshell, this is easy to grasp. Content that we see in social media is engineered and is designed for a purpose. You might think, and I used to think, if I have friends and family and just colleagues, if you post something, and I have friends all across the spectrum.
Sure, I do too.
Exactly. You would think that my posts would be seen by my friends, by my family. But in reality, it's my opinion, what happens is, for a very specific reason, this information through the algorithms is spun and pushed out for
an outcome.
For an outcome.
Yes.
Well said, for an outcome. And the reality is what we see on our feeds. It's an echo chamber. We hear what we believe, and we see it from people that we agree with, and that makes us feel like we're in the right, I think. And then the opposite of what we see are the fringe.
Mm-hmm.
It's I won't say specifically, but just loonies.
Yes.
I mean, flat out.
No, I get it.
Regardless of what your position is,
sure.
It's lunatic fringe.
Remember that song?
Lunatic Fringe. I love it. Red Rider.
Yes. Little music quiz there.
So, but the same thing for my Democratic friends.
Yep.
If I were to pick up their cell phone and read through their social media feed, they're going to hear and see nothing about, except for people that agree with them. And those that aren't are the crazy right fringe. Some guy with a red face screaming and the spittles are coming out and just shaking from anger. And we see the same. How in the world does that bring us together?
Well,
as a country?
I think I'm going to take what you had to say and twist just a notch. Remember, Facebook and social media was, and still Facebook, was owned by the left. And during the Biden administration, it was absolutely, the algorithms were changed to downplay the right stuff and encourage the left. Now, when you say it was deliberately done, I know this. I can sit in the living room and I could be folding clothes, and I'm sitting here with my phone on the couch next to me, and I'm folding clothes. And as I'm folding clothes, I say, oh my God, Jay, I need a new bra. And this one's ripped, and I throw it in the garbage. I pick up Facebook 20 minutes later, and I got 16 bra commercials. I mean, every one of my reels, every one of my,
I've experienced it.
Okay, we've all experienced it. So if we are, I think that propaganda was, if you click and you like the Republican Party, or click or you like Democrat Party, there's stuff sent to you to fight you, to silence you, to be quiet. It's the crazies. It's that crazy stuff. In order, it keeps you tamed, like we were before. Well, we don't want to talk about it. Not on our personal page. We'll talk in our things. But that's what it does. I think you are targeted, not just to hear the opposite, because I don't think the Democrats hear the crazy, maybe the extreme Republicans, but we are fed stuff because we want to be quiet. Or to help us be quiet. I think that's intentional. I think it's what you say, but one extra little notch.
Sure.
We got some comments here.
Please.
Let's catch up on. So we have Jamie and Brian Buell. We've always voted Republican, but after experiencing the beautiful vigil and then hearing our country's leaders, the president, vice president, and cabinet speak so openly about their faith, I feel more inspired than ever.
Yes.
Yay. It has given me confidence to share the truth and love, to step into important conversations without hesitation, and to remember how vital it is for us as Americans to use our votes and vote us. Thank you, Jamie and Brian. We welcome you. I want anybody that feels that way or is now wanting to take that next step. You don't have to be a member. Come to a Republican Party meeting. You will find that same. I tried to say that. I couldn't say it then because we weren't allowed it to be a party, and that, more on that in a minute. But I had to be there as a non-political person in order to get the courthouse, so I didn't say that. But this is what we feel at our Republican meetings. This is what we do. We're all united. We're all unified. We don't have that hate. We don't have that. We discuss ideas. We discuss solutions to problems. And this is what you feel. So Jamie and Brian, I cordially invite you the first Monday. The first Thursday of every month, we are at Remax Real Estate, just west of the Salvation Army. So please come. This is what you feel. You want to learn. You want to get more informed, because it's one thing to remember how vital it is for us to use our voice, but you have to have information to be vocal. You can't. If you don't understand what's going on, what are the issues, where help is needed, where misinformation is being spread, the best thing you can do is learn it there. And then when you go have these conversations, you have information to share. But it's not we're accepting. We love new members. Please come and please share. Mark, great job. No, you don't have to apologize for anything. It's okay. You didn't know. I mess with you. So if you don't stop apologizing, then I'm not gonna mess with you anymore, and then you'll know I don't like you anymore. Joking. So okay, I want to say, me and my coworker hugged this guy at the end. He was one of the guys you hugged. Correct?
Oh, is that right?
He was just talking about you. That was you.
Wow.
So yes,
Thank you.
There you go. That's who did it.
That felt wonderful. I appreciate that.
And this is us, US. Okay. Yes, agreed. So this is it. So we're going to take just a minute here. We're going to go to a commercial. This has gotten to be a great conversation. While we're gone, type your comments in and we'll come back and we'll read them, okay? All righty.
Why should you join the Livingston County Republican Party?
Why, you ask?
Yeah, why? Why join?
The Republican Party is the party of common sense.
Common sense.
Republicans support the Constitution.
Republicans protect your rights.
We fight to keep your children safe.
We fight to keep boys and men out of girls' and women's sports.
We fight to keep boys out of girls' restrooms.
We fight for you.
What does the Republican Party do?
We help Republican candidates get elected.
Why is it important to elect Republicans?
Why is that important?
Why? Tell me, why is that important?
Livingston County is one of the safest counties in Michigan.
Livingston County has one of the lowest crime rates in the state of Michigan.
Livingston County has the lowest tax millage rate of all 83 counties.
Republicans work to balance the budget.
Republican legislators vote against raising your taxes.
Republican elected officials believe in transparency.
Republican clerks run elections with integrity.
Republican trustees protect your rights.
Republicans support our veterans.
Who can join?
If you are conservative, we want you in our party.
All conservatives are welcome at our table.
Join our activities.
Join the fun.
Become a member.
Join us now.
Hi, I'm Deb Drick, chair of Livingston County Republican Party. Our conservative message has been very well received in Livingston County, and I'm so happy to share with you that people are stepping up right and left to help. The only thing's missing is you. Come join our mission. Come join our fun. Go to livingstonrepublicans.com and click join. You'll be glad you did.
And we're back again. Thanks for waiting for us here. So, this has just been a great conversation, and a great conversation with you, a great conversation with Steven. I'm of course crushed that Charlie Kirk was, killed, and I would give up the entire party to bring him back, because I thought he was that important to the world and how we behaved. However, Jay, when he spoke, he talked about, when JFK was killed, it was a tragedy. It was horrible. People were broken. But from that came, the Peace Corps, his Peace Corps, like Turning Point, the Peace Corps thrived at that point, because that, Kennedy started that. So, and so there was, benefit, or there was something beautiful from the ashes, like the Phoenix kind of thing. And that's exactly what, Jay was talking about, how Turning Point now has got, I don't know, last I heard it was something like 50,000 new, 10,000, 50,000, whatever, new requests for Turning Point chapters. So if, whoever, they say God, and I know this is it's really hard to swallow, but everybody says God takes those that mean, the actions that mean evil, and he uses them for good. So the good that was being used from that is that man with that bullet ignited more of our passions for speaking up and for the conservative movement. I mean, Charlie, I don't know that he used the word Republican, but he used the word conservative all the time. He did. All the time. That was it. And in his mind, I mean, that can only go one way, because he would say things against Democrats, but he would never say, I don't remember him saying the word Republican. Does anybody else? But I know he said conservative all the time, and that's what Republicans are. We're the conservatives. So I'm fully, I know this, since this happened, my membership has spiked. And like I said, I'd give up the whole membership to bring him back, but the membership has spiked. The membership on Facebook has spiked. And so it is, I mean, people now are just like Steven, just like Georgia. They're now speaking up, just like Jamie and Brian. They're speaking up now. They said, I'm not going to be silent anymore. I'm going to use that voice. So I guess what I'm looking for is, it's one thing to feel that way, but here I am using that word again, outcomes. What are the outcomes? What are you going to do? How is everybody else going to know versus words? So we have words, which, all right, now I'm going to speak up. Now I'm going to say, but what are there going to be actions? So Stephen, I challenge you. I challenge anybody on there. What are actions? What are tangible actions that you're going to do? Or if you haven't thought about it yet, you haven't got that far, that's just fine. But what are tangible actions? Or what are some ideas for tangible actions, that we can use to demonstrate what we've learned or what we feel now?
Whether or not I find myself in one of your training classes for election purposes, maybe I get involved and run for office. It's something that I've not put a whole lot of thought into, but maybe that is an opportunity to make a difference. Or even something as simple as today. I mentioned that I may have mentioned that I actually did remove a few Facebook friends, classmates from high school that I just knew that there's nothing on this earth that could get them to think any different. And the statements that they were making specifically about Charlie were just so simply vile.
Yep.
It turned my stomach.
Yep.
And I just said, if nothing else, I just don't want to pollute myself with that sort of a thought process. But
that's a really good way of saying it.
But then today I had another classmate posted something, and it was a clip about Charlie. And it had to do with this now viral clip of him saying that.
Oh, the out of context shorts. Oh,
yes. You know, and there were. I'd seen these videos. I knew what it was said. I've seen the whole
video. Yes, much.
But when I watched what my friend posted, it was really tiny little snippets, and it went from interview to interview. And she was sharing this. If it was true what he was saying, it would be vile.
That's right.
And in that short context, it could be considered vile.
Oh, yeah.
But if you just take a moment and step back and rewind that video 30 seconds, it told a different story. And I actually decided I wasn't going to remove this person as a friend. I think she is a good person. I think that she has some beliefs that are tainted by purposeful manipulation of social media content. And I was kind to her. I showed grace. I said supportive things, and I showed her the truth. And that's as much as I can do. So,
did she respond?
Not yet. Not yet. I'm curious to see if that happens, because it was done with love. It was done with caring. It was done with respect. And it wasn't an attack on her.
Right.
It was, I understand, I think what you're trying to do, and it sounds like you're interested in the truth, but what you're posting is not the truth.
Right.
Don't take this down. Don't delete it. But please, here is what the truth is. And I posted that. We'll see what happens.
Oh, I'm anxious. I'm curious.
I wonder how many people believe.
Oh,
it's quite mind-boggling, because I don't understand the level of hatred towards so many. And there is a term. I shared this, I think, last summer, and I wish I could recall what the term was. But there is a simple term, and it's not specific to politics. It's anything. If we hear something from a variety of sources, and that begins to get repeated, and we hear it long enough, and even if what we're hearing and what we're seeing is against our core beliefs, it's human nature to start to say, well, maybe it's true. And I think what happened,
I think that one term is conditioning.
It is conditioning. Yes. And there was actually a very long study that was done at some very major universities on this topic. And what they found is, if people are presented with, even if it's something ridiculous, often enough and consistently enough, that it starts to become the norm, and it starts to become the truth. And I'm wondering how much of that has really infected so many of us to hate like we have.
Well, let me give you a living example of this.
Please.
And this is something that I have said. It kind of touches on two things that you said. And the other thing would be that we are systematically being driven to believe certain things. 20 years ago, would you ever have believed that we would now be fighting to keep boys out of, that there would actually be half the population fighting to allow a boy in a girl's bathroom?
No.
Would you have ever thought that there would be half the world or would be fighting to keep a boy or allow a boy in a girl's locker room to undress with them?
I mean, I think we worked really hard to give girls and women an opportunity to have competitive situations.
That's right.
And I think that was the right thing to do.
Right. But to
go to that level, like you said,
and it's beyond the boys and girls play sports together. That was a little bit squinchy. But okay, that's a logical thing to debate.
Right.
But when you became a homophobe if you didn't like a boy in a girl's bathroom. You became a bully to a child. And this is what I believe me, I get this stuff all the time as the chair of the party. You're a homophobe. You would bully a child. You would bully a poor child out of the bathroom he or she wants to be in. No, you have parts. Your part should be with other parts like your parts. It's simple as that. We are not trying to tell children to feel bad. If a boy wants to wear a dress, I don't care. If he feels more, if the girl wants to pretend feel like a boy, that's fine. You got those parts, go there. And for me, the simple truth is this: bond for new bathrooms. And rather than one stall for boys, one bathroom for boys with 3 stalls, one for girls with 3 stalls, you have 6 individuals with a door, one at a time. Who cares who's in there? So, I mean, that's the answer to that, right? But no, that's not what they want. They don't want an answer to it. They want to fight for it. And so this conditioning has been going on so much that half our state roughly believes that we are awful for not wanting a boy in a girl's bathroom. This is just crazy. And so when you wonder if this has been intentional, hell yes, it's been intentional.
Yes.
Look at what we're fighting. Hold on here. So we have Mark, our Wayne County good person here. Proud to say he's never been a Democrat as an adult, except a few years as Libertarian. You cheater. Have always been a Republican. Good. And then we have, look here. Hi, Gwen.
I am in love with this viewer.
Illusory truth effect, also known as the reiteration effect. Yes, that's what we were talking about. Thank you.
Illusionary truth effect, which was a study done by multiple universities that all came to the same conclusion.
Yes.
And that was the term. Thank you, Gwen.
Thank you, Gwen. So Mark here is still defending the fact that he is not one of 2 people in Wayne County. Okay, we got it. You made your point. All right. So so that's it. The illusory truth effect. Yes. That is that's what we're talking about. But yes, and they do this on purpose because you normalize things. You desensitize people to things and you normalize them. And you see now you see the new thing they're feeding and nobody's ready for it yet, but it's coming under the ground. And
I'm afraid to ask.
That is the word. They are changing the word pedophile. You are now, what's the word? Tyler, do you remember the term? There's a term for being a pedophile now. It's it's something like it's like minor attracted person or something like that. It is I mean, disgusting. And I think to myself, at least I caught myself thinking to myself, oh, that's not going anywhere. That's absolutely horrible. And then I think, that's what I thought about boys and girls bathroom and men and women's bathrooms and men and girls sport, men in women's locker rooms. And, who would have thought that a man would win the gold on a women's team? And who would ever thought that a man would be the cover or the what was it?
Woman of the Year?
No, that's a Woman of the Year. What is that magazine has a swimsuit? Sports
Illustrated.
Yeah, they had a man on there. Give me a break. So it's like, it's who would have, I mean, they've normalized it. So there is half of our country, or at least somewhere less than, it has to be less than half because they lost, right?
Sure.
But half of our country, or slightly or ish, believe that this is okay, and believe worse. They believe not only is it okay, they believe we're awful because we don't want it. We're homophobes. We're terrible. No, not accepting people's sexual preferences that are legal and consensual that's different than saying I think a boy should be in a girl's bathroom. And I tell you what, Anne-Marie, talking about Anne-Marie Yarber, anybody watching this, go to YouTube and look back to, I don't know, somewhere around Marchish. Anne-Marie Yarber was a guest here, and listen to Anne-Marie talk about what it's like to be a female student when a boy in a skirt walks into the bathroom. Let her tell you about what she sees in a high school where gender therapy is being not only pushed or encouraged, it's being pushed. So she opened my eyes in a big way. I have grandchildren in little elementary, so they're not at that age yet where that's coming. So I'm out of the I'm out of that sphere, I guess. But it is intentional. And now they're, like I said, they're pushing the pedophilia as minor attractions or whatever it's called now. And they're trying to normalize it. And this is where I feel like our silence and not going after this nonsense about boys and girls bathrooms and boys and girls locker rooms and things. We weren't silent when that stuff was being, slid under the door. We were silent. We weren't loud. We just, it'll go away. It'll die. It'll never go anywhere. And that's what I caught myself thinking yesterday or the day before when I read this term, minor attracted or whatever. And I thought, that's not going to go anywhere. And I click.
Yeah.
That's what I thought before. So no, we cannot be silent anymore.
No.
So that's one of my outcomes. I see something and I'm starting to call it out. It's no. This is not the way. This is not going to be normalized under my watch anyway. And I encourage everybody else that's seeing these things, that's one outcome. Anybody else have any other outcomes? What are the outcomes? So what actions will you take? And I say this beyond talking. So you're thinking maybe run for office, great, and you can bet I'll have a training for you. We'll get you trained and ready.
I have to get myself an apartment in downtown Howell so I can run for the city.
Run for mayor. Yeah, run for city council. That'd be all right with me. I'll tell you what, Jay, because at some point I want to run for Marion Township. So we'll switch houses. That's it. You can run for me. I'll run for you. It'll be fine. That's it. So we have Mark here who agrees with us about the transgender situation. The left is lying. Many of the LGBT plus community agree with what you and President Trump are saying. I agree, and I don't, and I think, and I caution the right. I think Mark, you brought up a good point. I caution the right because it is easy to lump pedophilia into the LGBTQ. The LGBTQ is not. They have different sexual preferences than I do, but they're not pedophiles, or at least, there are no more pedophiles there than there are in the, in the straight community. A lot of the pedophiles they're straight. So they're just, as they put them, minor attracted. So just because you are a member of that, do not confuse the two. They are not synonymous. They do not necessarily blend together. Pedophilia is a sickness that affects, that they don't recognize party lines. They don't recognize gender lines. They are who they are. They're twisted for whatever reasons they are. And I don't feel like the LGBTQ community is twisted in any way, shape, or form. They have a different sexual preference, but if it's legal and it's consensual, I don't care.
I think I would agree with that. I don't know any of my friends, regardless of their party affiliation, feel any differently. And it really comes down, I've overused the word maybe, is respect. We need to treat everyone with respect, regardless if you have pronouns or not pronouns. Where I have an issue is I think the forcing of me needing to change how I speak and the words that I use, even though I think that I've always done it from a position of kindness and respect. I had a situation. Well, I guess I'll mention this. We actually brought a group into we being my family, my wife and I, it was called help me here, Drag Queen Bingo.
Oh, I remember that.
Yeah,
yes.
Yeah, and
that was huge.
And I don't want to speak for my wife, but I believe that she was trying to show that.
Oh, that yes.
It's. People are people, and we need, what's the word I'm looking for? Acceptance, tolerance, respect. And it was a great night.
Oh, and I had that original conversation.
Yeah, I would welcome it back again. It was literally a wonderful night. But I was speaking with some of them in the green room before going on stage, and I used a word that offended some of the performers, and I used the word dude, and I did it in a way that, because I
My grandson calls me dude. It's a term. It's sexless anymore.
It doesn't
even mean sex anymore.
I think I've referred to my wife as dude now and then.
Yes.
It's like, dude, you're not going to believe this.
I know.
The words I grew up with,
right.
When I used it, it caused some very uncomfortable performers to comment on it. And I said to them with complete kindness and respect, I said, first of all, you understand where I came from, and it's a word that we use growing up. I use it regardless of sex or gender.
It's androgynous anymore.
It didn't mean anything specific, so my intention was not to be offensive, and if I was, I sincerely apologize, but it wasn't done on purpose, and it wasn't done for any negative reason.
Sure.
And we were all fine.
Right.
And I think that words should be used that we feel. Tell people how we feel. Do it with respect. Do it with kindness.
But it's not like you were telling them you were a dude. You
no,
just said something
no,
offhand.
I was like, dude, you're not going to believe whatever
exactly.
I said.
That's it. So, and here's Mark says many young black men and many LGBT plus individuals voted for President Trump, which is why he didn't just win Michigan, but also became president for a second time. He said, thank you for defending the LGBT. Oh, I don't feel like they need defending. I feel like they just have the same rights as everybody else. Again, but I don't care what you do in your bedroom. I don't want to know. I don't want to know what you do in your bedroom. I don't know what you do. I don't care who you do it with. Is it legal? Is it consensual? You make it non-consensual, now we have a problem. You make it illegal, you get children or animals involved, now I'm going to have a problem with you. But other than that, we're good. And Karen here says they're horribly offended when the wrong pronouns are used. This is true. The they, them nonsense. That is just crazy in my mind. And Charlie, was it Charlie or did somebody else? I think somebody else was just screwing with. It's like, well, you refer to me as they, them. Why? Is there more than one of you? No, that's who I am. They or them. No. They or them means more than one of you. I think that was Charlie. No, that means more than one of you. They and them means, plural. You, I, and me, that's singular.
Right, right.
Yeah, and it's like, what on earth?
Where's the common sense anymore?
I saw on Facebook somebody posting, was it Chicago or New York? A woman walking, and she had a leash like for a dog, except this was a guy that she was walking, and he was had a collar on walking. And I thought to myself, I don't know that we could sink a whole lot lower than that. I mean, yes, there's more rock bottom there. Obviously, the minor attracted is the worst, but yike. And you know what? And here's what I challenge. Somebody show me a Republican doing that. That's all I'm going to say. That's all I'm going to say. Yowza. So, and like I said, I mean, even that, consensual, legal, do it in the bedroom. I don't feel like I don't feel it's a good idea to walk around like that. But if that's your thing, that's your thing. It's legal and it's consensual. All right. Wow. So, not going to be something I can relate to.
Right.
But
right.
that's all right. You be you. When I address somebody, it is the first person. You, yes, it is. That's the appropriate way. There's, this they, them stuff. And the killer, and this is why the Democrats shot themselves in the foot. And I will say this, I've said it before, I'll say it again. We took back majority, and the Republicans, I know in this community, we worked our tail off on a get out the vote effort. And we set a goal at 80% in Livingston County, and I don't ever remember 80% ever. We got 79.8% or something. So I'll take that as a win. But I blame that 0.01% on Rob, but okay. Anyway, so the 80% roughly we got, which is unheard of. I have voted in the same precinct, for 35 years. And I will tell you something. I'm usually there at 1:30, 2 o'clock. I kind of go in the middle when it's dead. I'm the only person in there, maybe one other. I walk in, I vote, I get out of there, which is what I want to do. Nope. Every single booth was filled. I was in line out the door. It took me an hour to vote. I could not believe it. I just couldn't believe it. But I don't feel like, even though the Republicans did really well at getting out the vote, I don't feel we did the best job of saying why Republicans need to be elected. I think the Democrats helped us by being so crazy, that woke, They bet the farm. They pushed people way too far. And the independents and the swing people said, okay, that's enough. Because you can be Democrat and you can bleed blue and donkeys and everything else in the world. But you can love Biden, you can love Obama, you can love Kamala. But if you're the parent of a child, a girl in high school, and she's coming home crying because there are boys in her locker room or boys in her bathroom, you aren't going to be Democrat for that cycle. You're going to vote differently because they pushed it too far with all this transgender talk. And that's another thing. I don't care how Democrat you are. When you find out your daughter is asking to be called by a different name and the teacher's encouraging it and not telling you, you're going to have a different vote. And this is what they did. They just pushed it. They bet the farm and lost. So that helped us. Now, we have to be very careful that we don't go equally nutso and push them back.
Amen.
So we have to be very careful. But I know this. It is my job to make sure that we have good Republicans to get on the ballot, that we raise volunteers to help us get our mission out, and that we raise enough money that we can pay for what we need to do it. The mailings and all that stuff's expensive, so I challenge everybody, do a couple things. Get to a Republican meeting. And I'm not saying this I put in my 40 or 50 hours a week as 100% volunteer. So know this, I don't get paid for this. I don't get paid for any of this. Every Tuesday night, I give up my Tuesday to be here, to do a podcast, to get you guys informed. I do several events a month to further Republican ideals, to get people. I give all the trainings I do are for free to help Republicans get elected. The meetings I run, the volunteers the committees I work with, I put in hours and hours and hours for free every month because I want this place to be a better. So when you ask me what my outcomes are, there you go. I have lots of outcomes. I'm not asking you to put in those kind of hours, but whatever you can do it. If you're short on money and you just want to show up and learn so you can speak correctly, please do it. If you can chip in a little here and there, do it. If you can if you can knock doors for a candidate, do it. You would not believe how important it is to understand we are in this mess with the transgender issues, and I don't even say transgender issues, with the issues with the blending of the locker rooms and the bathrooms. We are in this mess because people didn't go and help. They didn't knock on doors. They didn't make their calls. They didn't come to meetings and know how to speak. They didn't speak up. So Charlie gave us the awakening we needed to start talking like a conservative, to put those outcomes out there. So what can you do? So we have Mark, who is blessing us again. He blesses me every other week or every other post, so that's good. God bless you guys in Livingston County, every Trump supporter in Michigan. Michigan played a major factor of why Trump is president again. Amen to that. We did. We were one of the big wins for him. But actually, he won every swing state. He also won the popular vote. And I say that respectfully. I love being a Republican, and I love Republicans. But the Democrats gave us a big old president a president. Well, they gave us a president too, but a president in a bow when they actually went off the deep end. All those woke people took over, and it's really hard for AOC to convince anybody that that's a saner party. That's all I'm gonna say. Madam Chair, you're an angel. No, I'm not an angel. Everything you do, thank you very much. Thank you. I'm very committed to this. I took this role seriously when I took it. And I put in the time. That's just what you have to do. I mean, there's, when I hear people, oh, I'd love to get involved with politics, but I don't have, I just don't have the time. I bite my tongue. I have 9 grandchildren and, 3 kids and a house and a pile of laundry and everything else. And instead I'm here. Or I'm knocking doors, or I'm, talking to people, or I'm teaching people, or I'm training people, or I'm meeting people, or I'm fundraising, or I'm planning events, or whatever. So, yes, this is, I understand everybody's busy. Everybody's got dollars to stretch. Everybody's got stuff. I'm not asking for the farm. Help where you can. That's all I'm saying. At least come to our meetings, get in, just learn what we do and why we do it. And you'll find that God bless Jane. I'm not going to say her. She doesn't post her last name on Facebook. She goes by Jane Constitutionalist. God bless her. Someone said, our tickets for our event next month, and this is the big fundraiser for all of next year, right? Our tickets are $100. That includes your square dancing, your line dancing, by the way, every Wednesday night I'm down at the American Legion teaching. Every Wednesday during the day I learn 2 line dances so that I can go and teach line dance classes for free to people at the American Legion every Wednesday. So there's another weekly fun, which I love doing. We have a great time doing it. So, but someone was complaining that, oh gosh, that's a high price. I can't afford that. I'm not going to go. And God bless Jane, who wrote under, well, I can't afford it either. I'm just going to cut back something else. This is important.
Wow.
I was like, yes. That is the right attitude, because that is somebody that understands that what we do and how we do it and what it takes to do it. Because if we didn't exist to elect those Republicans, we would have, remember 23 and 24? Remember how bad they were and how many bad policies passed? That's what happens when not enough people step up and do what they got to do what they can do. So
I think now is a good time to get involved, because I think we are, I would like to think, and I do think that we are on the precipice of a huge movement.
Yes.
Not just from conservatives like you and I, but I believe that there are a great number of Democrats who, I'm a Democrat, I'm going to vote Democrat, and they toe the line. But I think the extremes that they have been seeing and are seeing from their party is enough to cause them to take pause and say, what are we doing here?
People like that, yep.
People like that.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we may see one of the biggest turnouts ever for conservative values.
Oh my gosh.
And Charlie, so. I think
Charlie's there in spirit, that's for sure.
A lot of people knew Charlie. Mm-hmm. And a lot of people were familiar with his videos and his mm-hmm. podcast. But you know what? A whole lot more know now, because if they didn't know, who was he? And they begin reading and they begin watching and listening. And it's sort of like, okay, I may not agree with everything, but wow, this is some common sense stuff. And especially the young voters who I think are really looking at Charlie now. And I think this is the time. When I heard about the vigil, actually, I had planned.
Oh, that's a good thing. I didn't think to ask. How did you hear about it? What did you think?
Honestly, I think I just saw a posting on Facebook, and I was supposed to be with my wife at a fundraiser in Howell at the Opera House. It was like a spelling bee.
Right.
And I just told her, I said, I'm sorry, but I'm being pulled. I feel something pulling me. I have to be there. I mean, I wasn't a subscriber. I didn't watch him regularly. I've seen plenty of his videos, but what I witnessed on the day on September 8th when he was killed, and since then, the 10th, I'm sorry.
That's right.
Really put a hook in me, and I told my wife, I've got to be. However, I was having a friend.
And bless you, Gwen, for understanding that, because not a lot of lesser wives wouldn't have. So good for you.
Thank you. And I actually, in addition, I had a friend coming in from out of town that we were a classmate from high school. We were supposed to go and hang out and just spend time reliving the glory days.
Sure.
And I told him, I said, Mark, I shouldn't say names, but I said, I really feel like I need to be at this vigil. And I know we were supposed to spend the evening together, but is there any chance you would go with me? Because I have to be there. And it was interesting. His response was very quick. I'll pass. And I don't know his politics, right. But a little bit later, I got another.
I'll bet you he watched that video.
Maybe. Well, I'll tell you, I think who pushed him over the edge, but to come. But he a little bit later, after he said, you know what? Let me think on that for a second. And a little bit later, he said, okay, I'll come. And then he said, I'll tell you why. he is a conservative, I've learned.
Okay.
And it was actually his mother.
That's her.
That she is a staunch Republican and supporter of the Republican Party. And she said to my friend, she said, you need to go. You need to be there. And she told him why. And one of the things that she said is, she goes, I really think, as tragic as that was, we are about to see a movement like we haven't seen in many of our lifetimes. I'll say that. And he came, and he was not a Charlie video watcher. He was familiar with him. But he said, this was really amazing. He said, this was a great community event. And he felt the same things as I felt.
That connectedness?
The things that you shared with me. And here's a guy that didn't want to be there. But he was, and he was glad he did.
Oh, good. Well, someday I hope to meet him. That's an awesome story. And I wonder how many other people felt that way, that they went there because their wife wanted them to go, or their brother or their friend or whatever. Come on, we'll go out and have a beer afterwards or whatever, can you just put up with this for me? I wonder how many people went there and felt that, started off that way, and left and felt that the invisible golden thread that went through all of us, all 1,000, 12, 1,500, however many were there. But every single person, it was like we all our heartbeats pounded the same time. I don't know. I wish I could explain it to people that weren't there.
I feel the same way. I don't have the words.
There's no words.
But I am giggling over here at one thing. I must make one little admit. You said,
Go ahead.
when the pretend discussion with my friend that you just said, we'll
Right.
have a beer afterwards. Well, we had a beer right when we got there because we had the social district cup.
Sure.
But here's why I'm telling you this is because I had one beer. And when you gave your talk, and I'm being filled with so much emotion from everybody, that spoke, including yourself. And when you said, if you are ready to do something, stand up and come down, I literally said, hold my beer. And I just came trudging down.
You did. You shocked me.
And I said, I'm ready.
He Steven hugged me and said, I'm there.
I'm there.
And I went, okay. And this is awesome. And I had so many people hugging me, saying things, and I tried to seek them out. I tried to call for them, and Steven right away said, absolutely. When I asked, and there are still people who are nervous out there. There's still people that are changing, but they don't want to come forward. They came forward there, but they don't know and I'm going to open this thing up later. If somebody says, all right, it took me a minute to get my courage up, but I want to come back and talk about it. All right, open invitation. Let me know. So in the future, but I cannot thank you enough for having this conversation. I will tell you with the greatest due respect that you have now beaten Kevin Rinke as the longest continuous one guest show I've ever had.
I know my wife is rolling on the floor right now because typically my wife will give me this sign.
No, you did fine.
I tend to talk.
No, you spoke, you contributed. It was fine. No, Gwen, he's fine. He did perfectly here today. Don't go back and tell me he shouldn't have talked as much. If you had others, I think we've kind of reached probably the end of our conversation. I don't know where else we can go from here. So when we get to that point, we usually kind of close off. But again, anybody that felt something, anybody that is ready to change, even if it isn't today, please reach out. Please let me know. Chair at LivingstonRepublicans.com. And my wonderful helper, Tyler over here, is going to put that in the comments for us, so I'll post it on there. Reach out to me and tell me, hey, I'm ready to make a change. I want to talk about it. Even if you don't want to talk about it on the podcast, you just want to talk to me. I am open. I'm sure next week I have 10 minutes where I can, or I can have 2 hours or something where I can talk to you. I've got to open there. Laundry can wait. There's important things in life. So anyway, just reach out. We'd love to hear from you. I really, really want my, who's got it? Tyler, you got a calendar over there? What's the first Thursday in October? Tyler says it is the October 2nd, I want to pack the house at Remax. I want everybody watching this at our October meeting. I want you to, I'll have a spot in there to stand up and introduce you. I want you there. I want you to say, I love being I want to be a Republican. I'm going to be an active Republican. I've always been a Republican, but now I'm going to start coming. That's fine. Joni, are you watching? If you're still there, Joni was here earlier. If you're still there, Joni, I'll give you a second to do it. Put in your email. Joni Econom is our outstanding. Now, first of all, you're going to love her. I don't know how you couldn't love her, but she's our volunteer coordinator. She's the head of our volunteer department. And Joni is the one that when we got something going, Joni gets, I'll call her. I'll say, hey, we're going to do this day. We're having our spaghetti dinner. For example, this Saturday, the 27th, longtime Osceola Township resident Cindy Howell has to undergo cancer therapy on thyroid and no insurance, and it's gonna hurt her. So we're having a spaghetti dinner for her. Friday night, I'm going to be cooking 1,100 pounds of spaghetti. Saturday, we're going to have a dinner for her. I think the minimum donation is we're asking first $20, and we won't argue if you can give 10. So come have some spaghetti, but that money's going to be given to her. Her medical bills are going to be outstanding, but at least this is going to give her some cash for medicines and, medicine or food or keep her lights on or whatever while she's going through a treatment. That's really important. So she's been a longtime Republican, and so we're here for her. That's Saturday. So here's Joni Econom. I'm hoping she's typing in her stupid address. And if not, when I get off this place, I'm going to call and yell at her. So Joni Econom is... all right, hold on. I'll come right back. Okay. Tyler, type Joni in. Right there. Hang on. Ha! Look at me.
You are smooth.
Yeah, let's paste that. Boom. Okay. So this right here, jeconom@sbcglobal.net. That's Joni. That's our volunteer coordinator. We have events coming all the time, and we always need volunteers. We're going to need people at our fundraiser for Cindy next Saturday to serve food, to clean up, to set up, to clear tables, to throw, get people moving. Take tickets, etc. We have our big fundraiser on October 15th. That's the big one. So we have tickets are $100 a person. You can go on LivingstonRepublicans.com, LivingstonRepublicans.com, and buy your tickets. There's sponsorships there. We also opened up 3 different things you can do. So and you can do that if you whether you come or not. We have spots they're $100 a person. That includes beer, wine, pig roast, soft drinks, square dancing, line dancing, everything. So we have 3 different sections that we've opened up. You can donate in addition to your ticket, or instead of $175 for 2 veterans that wouldn't otherwise be able to come. You can check that box. You can check the box for 2 either Young Republicans or Turning Point youth to come, or you can check the box, or you can check the box for 2 first-time voters. We have a first-time Republican voter that's coming, I think, with his mom. So this is, I've already had a few people buy these or check these boxes. So if you can, even if you can't come or whatever, if you can help with that, that would be great. Or if you can come and still help with that, that'd be great. But we're gonna be inviting. I want to get as many people this as possible. This is how we fund Republican candidates. So make sure you're there. But we also need volunteers. So if you can come, and if you wouldn't mind, really afterwards, we're going to have a massive cleanup. And I think all of us are going to work at a time. But, if you can come and help us work on set up we're going to have a bucket. Oh, that's the other thing. If you can, donate a prize. Donate something. You can donate a coupon, you can donate a basket, you can donate whatever you want to do. You can go buy something, put it there, you can promise something, you can promise a service, but we are going to have a bucket drawing, and those also raise funds for candidates. So this is what we can do. But there's Joni. That's our website. Let's go right back to Joni here. Joni is our volunteer coordinator. Send her an email and say, hey, I'll volunteer. Show me where. Where do you need me? And she'll reach out to you. Meet Joni. You're going to love her. But October 2nd, we're packing the house at RE/MAX, 7 o'clock. Show up a little bit early. Find me, introduce yourself, and say, I saw you on the podcast. We're going to make sure that you understand why we do what we do and why I put all these hours in, because it is worth it. All right. Thank you. Thanks, Steven, for coming. Thanks, everybody, for chiming in. Thank you again every week to Tyler, who sits here and does all our typing and takes care of all the computer work and anything else I need. So, and thanks for all the commercials and everybody else that supports this. So, Thursday, Lisa, you thought I was going to forget you, didn't you? This Thursday, every fourth Thursday, we do something called Fourth Thursday Social. And this is not Republican business. This is just, you know how you want to have those conversations, but you got a mixed group of friends and you don't want to have those conversations because those people over there won't like it, or these people will. Okay, we all have friends like that. We all have groups that we're in like that. That's fine. This is where you can have those conversations openly with like-minded people that will answer questions or share ideas or whatever. But we have a Fourth Thursday Social at 6 o'clock. Those who want dinner, meet for dinner. At 7 o'clock, those who don't want dinner, come just for cocktails or pop or beverage or whatever. But we go someplace different every month, and this month it is the Smoke Doctor in Howell. So
Ooh,
I know,
he
barbecue.
makes good stuff.
That's what I've heard. I've been to when he was in Pinckney. I've been there. I've not been to the one in Howell.
Cornell.
Pardon me?
Cornell, the owner. I
Okay.
had an opportunity to eat there recently, and what a wonderful guy he
Okay,
is.
I've heard nothing but good things, so
He
I'm
is
really
a-
looking forward to meeting him.
A great guy. I look forward to going back just to be in his presence, but also eat his
What you doing
delicious
Thursday?
food.
You can come Thursday for dinner. You'll be around a bunch of like-minded people. So that goes for
Don't
all
have
of
to
you
ask
too.
me twice.
Yeah. Again, let me know you're coming so we can let you know. Chair. Well, no, he put it already up there, didn't you? Yes, right there. Yes. Chair at livingstonrepublicans.com. Just shoot me an email saying, hey, me and so-and-so will be there. I need make room for 2 more, right? Just so we kind of know. Or I won't be there for dinner, but I can be there about 7:30 for drinks. We just want to set aside the tables. I mean, we've had some restaurants that have told us, we can't, we're not going to get involved. We're not going to have a political party. We had a political party one time and we got protested, blah, blah, blah. So any of these restaurants, I'm always happy that, they're willing to do that. It really speaks well for them and their values. So Mark, you gotta get out here one of these days. This is the perfect way. We gotta, we're gonna celebrate you when you finally make it out here.
He's a very positive guy.
I know he is. I know. I can't wait to meet him. So find somebody that'll drag you out here for October 15th, and we'll line dance together. Woohoo! All right, everybody. So this Thursday at Smoke Doctor at 6 o'clock. Send me an email, and we'll see you there. Good night, and thanks again.